Hi, I'm Kaylee, and these are 60 of my auto-buy authors. I recently did a tag video where one of the prompts was to list some of your auto-buy authors, but I think you were only supposed to list like 3 or 4. And so I got kind of interested in that idea and decided to make a quite lengthy list of some of my auto-buy authors. Before we dive into the list, I'm going to reach back here to our Booktuber Shoutout book, and we're going to shout out somebody randomly. Today's shout out goes to a mother and daughter team, Margot and Jeanette at Keep Turning Pages. They just started their YouTube channel. They only have 1 or 2 videos up. So definitely go over and subscribe to them and support them and welcome them to the Booktube community. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you have a big lengthy list of auto-buy authors like I do. And be sure to follow me over on Instagram and Goodreads and Storygraph and all the places. So I started setting up this list of, okay, what are some authors that if I saw that book in the bookstore, I would just grab it immediately. So this list is not going to include authors where I already own all of their works. I already own all of Dickens and all of Shakespeare and all of Jane Austen. These are authors where I am actively looking for their books. I've broken them up into categories. We have sci-fi and fantasy, children's and middle grade, mysteries, nonfiction, and of course, everybody's favorite, classics. A few of these authors, I had a little bit of trouble of where to put them in what category, because I have A.A. Milne, who is of course known for Winnie the Pooh, so you would think he would go in children's, but all the ones that I want to buy of his are mysteries. But he's also a classic author, so it's kind of like, where does it go? I don't know. So some of them it's just kind of like, just stick it in a category. It's fine, whatever. Most of these are authors where the book that I'm actively looking for that's like on my wish list to buy from that author are ones that I have not read. But some of these are actually ones that I have read, or I've got it from the library, or I read it on my Kindle or something, but I just don't have a physical copy, so that physical copy is on my wish list. These are in no particular order, just they're in the order that I happen to think of them and saw them on my Goodreads. Without further ado, let's dive into the fantasy and sci-fi genre. So the first one on the list is M.I. McAllister. This is the author of the Miss Mantle Chronicles. And I've looked all around and I can't find any other work written by this author other than the Miss Mantle Chronicles. So currently there's nothing on my wish list from this author, but if they were to write another book, I would pre-order that book so fast, it would make your head swim. The next one is Robin McKinley. I have a lot of her books, but I still need Imaginary Lands, The Stone Fae, Water, and the second book of the Pegasus trilogy, Eben, if it ever gets published, which it's been years and years and years now, and it's looking like that trilogy might just never get finished. Then we have Diana Wynne Jones. I need The Deep Secret and The Dark Lord of Dirkholm. Then we have Susan Cooper, The Magician's Boy, Dawn of Fear, and Victory. I have a lot of Colleen Houck's books. The only one that I can think of that I don't have is Terraformer. Our next author is Eiko Kadono. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. This is the author of Kiki's Delivery Service. There are actually 6 books in this series, but only the first one has been translated to English. So I really, really wish that they would translate the rest of them so I could read all about Kiki. Then we have Madeline L'Engle. I need A House Like a Lotus, An Arm of the Starfish. I'm sure there's some other ones of hers that I don't have on my shelves that I need, but those 2 are the main ones. And I've already read Arm of the Starfish, but I just don't have a copy. Then we have Shannon Hale. I've read a bunch of her books. I still need Dangerous. I need Austenland and Real Friends. Then we have Jessica Day George. I need a bunch of her books. I need Dragonflight and Dragonspear. I have the first book in the series. I have Dragon Slippers, but I need the rest of the books in that series. I need Princess of Glass and Silver in the Blood and The Rose Legacy. Then we have Garth Nix. I have a lot of Garth Nix books, but I don't have Sword Will Travel and Let Sleeping Dragons Lie. Then Diana Peterfront. I need In the Hall with the Knife and Rampant, which is the first book of the Killer Unicorn series. I love Kate Thompson, but the only thing I've read of hers is the New Policeman series. So I need Switchers, Midnight Choice, and The Beguilers. I love Patricia C. Reed, and I've read tons and tons of her books, and I always want more. I need Snow White and Rose Red, The Raven Ring, Book of Enchantments, Across the Great Barrier, and The Far West. And I've only read one book by Walter Moores, so I need Rumo and His Miraculous Adventures, City of Dreaming Books, The Alchemaster's Apprentice, and Labyrinth of Dreaming Books. Next, we have the children's and middle grade category. For Joan Aiken, I need Go Saddle the Sea, The Cereal Garden, Arabelle's Raven, and Dangerous Games. For Eva Ibbotson, I need The Dragon Pool. There's a whole bunch of other books that she has published that are not even on my list. But if I saw anything that had her name on it, I would just grab it. Then we have Mary Norton. She's the one that is, of course, known for writing the Borrowers series. There's a spin-off story of the Borrowers called Poor Stainless. And there's a sequel to Bedknobs and Broomsticks called Bonfires and Broomsticks. And there are the bread and butter stories. Then Marjorie Sharp is of course known for writing The Rescuers, but that series is quite lengthy. I still need Miss Bianca in the Salt Mines, Miss Bianca and the Bridesmaid, and Miss Bianca in the Antarctic. And I also want to read some of her more YA or adult books, Clooney Brown, The Eye of Love, and Martha in Paris. Then we have Jenny Nimmo. I need The Stones of Ravenglass and The Leopard's Gold that are part of the Chronicles of the Red King. Frances Hodgson Burnett is best known for The Secret Garden and A Little Princess, but I need A Fair Barbarian, A Lady of Quality, and The Rackety Packety House. I just want to say that over and over. The Rackety Packety House. It's just so fun to say. You try it. Try saying it and see if it doesn't put a smile on your face. The Rackety Packety House. It's just adorable. Okay, then we have Trenton Lee Stewart, who wrote The Mysterious Benedict Society. He doesn't have anything new out lately. I own all of his books that have been published, but if he were to write something new, I would pre-order it right away. Then there's Kate Douglas Wiggin, who wrote Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. So there's the new Chronicles of Rebecca and Rose of the River. Then we have Noel Stretfield. Traveling shoes, circus shoes, party shoes, family shoes, new shoes. So those are the 5 books in the shoe series that I do not have. And I also want The Painted Garden. Then we have Edith Nesbit, The Cockatoo Can, The Red House, Melisande, The Town in the Library, and The Incredible Honeymoon. The next one is Trudy Truitt. I completely fell in love with the Explorer Academy series that National Geographic Kids put out in the last few years. And now they have an Explorer Academy spin-off, and the first book is The Sailor Cipher, and I am dying to get my hands on it. And I'm definitely going to be asking the publisher to send me an ARC for sure. Then we have Philippa Pierce, The Battle of Bubble and Squeak, The Way to Satin Shore, and Little Gentleman. Then we have Susan Coolidge, Eyebright, and In the High Valley. And we have Edward Eager, Mouse Manor, that looks adorable, and Playing Possum. Then a whole bunch of books from Eleanor H. Porter, Pollyanna Grows Up, Pollyanna of the Orange Blossoms, Pollyanna's Jewels, Pollyanna's Debt of Honor, Pollyanna's Western Adventure, and it goes on and on and on with the entire Pollyanna series. Next is the mystery section. Right at the top of this section is Elizabeth C. Bunce. She recently finished the Myrtle Hardcastle mystery series, and I completely fell in love with Myrtle, and I fell in love with this author. But she's also written A Curse as Dark as Gold, and Starcrossed, and Liar's Moon. So I really want to get my hands on those. Then we have a whole bunch of Agatha Christie. Poirot Investigates, Death in the Clouds, Dumb Witness, The Hollow, Taken at the Flood, Cat Among the Pigeons, The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding, The Clocks, Halloween Party, Elephants Can Remember, Poirot's Early Cases, and While the Light Lasts. Then we have Nancy Atherton, who writes the Aunt Dimity mystery series. I think the only one left in the series that I don't have is Aunt Dimity and the Heart of Gold. Then we have Christiana Brand. I want to read Heads You Lose and Tour de Force and some of the other books from that series. That's just a couple of them. It's a lengthy series, I think. Then we have Dorothy Gilman. So I want to read A New Kind of Cunning, Country Girl in Buckskin and Bells of Freedom. Those sound like they're kind of out of the ordinary for the type of things that Dorothy Gilman usually writes. So I would be really interested to see like, ooh, something different from one of my favorite authors, you know. Then we have Patricia Wentworth. I love the Miss Silver series, The Latter End, The Eternity Ring, The Vanishing Point, and The Catherine Wheel. Those are just a few of the ones from that series that I still need to get. Next we have nonfiction, and these are all Christian authors. I want to read more from Timothy Keller. Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness is one that is definitely at the top of my wish list. And Generous Justice. And I have a whole bunch from G.K. Chesterton that I want. Orthodoxy, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Man Alive, Napoleon of Notting Hill, The Ball and the Cross, The Ballad of the White Horse, Tremendous Trifles, The Flying Inn. Now, some of those, of course, are fiction. The first one on that list, Orthodoxy, that one's nonfiction, so it just kind of ended up in the nonfiction collection. And then Dorothy L. Sayers is known for the Lord Peter Wimsey series, and I already own all of those, but I want to read more of her nonfiction. I want to read The Whimsical Christian, The Mind of the Maker, The Lost Tools of Learning, Are Women Human? That should be interesting. Letters to a Diminished Church, and Creed or Chaos. Then we have A.W. Tozer, The Knowledge of the Holy, The Pursuit of Man, because I've already read The Pursuit of God, so now I want to read The Pursuit of Man, The Attributes of God, The Crucified Life, and Man, the Dwelling Place of God. And then there are a couple of C.S. Lewis that I don't have. I don't have Reflections on the Psalms, and then The Allegory of Love, A Study of Medieval Tradition. And finally, we get to the classics. That's what I know you've all been waiting for. Right at the top of my list is Anthony Trollope. I need Orley Farm and Can You Forgive Her and Phineas Finn and Cousin Henry. And those are just the four that are like at the top of my Trollope list that I really need. And then we have Wilkie Collins. I want The Haunted Hotel, A Rogue's Life, Poor Miss Finch, and Man and Wife. And of course, there are a bunch more on my Wilkie Collins list, but those are just a few of them. Then we have Sir Walter Scott. I need Castle Dangerous, My Aunt Margaret's Mirror, Marmion, Peveril of the Peak, The Fortunes of Nigel, Quentin Durward, A Legend of Montrose, St. Ronan's Well. Yeah, lots of Sir Walter Scott. Then we have Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I need The Dealings of Captain Sharkey and Other Tales of Pirates, The Gully of Blue Man's Dyke, The Last of the Legions and Other Tales of Long Ago, The Mystery of Clomer, The Firm of Girdleston, Rodney Stone, Uncle Bernac, Sir Nigel, The Vital Message, The Parasite, The Captain of the Pole Star and Other Stories, and The Doings of Raffles Haw. Then we have A.A. Milne. I want Once on a Time, Two People, Mr. Pym Passes By, Once a Week, If I May, and The 4 Days Wonder. Then we have Elizabeth Gaskell. I think the only one of hers that I don't have is Sylvia's Lovers. Then we have H. Rider Haggard. I have some of the Alan Quatermain series, but there are books here and there in the series that I still need. And I really want Montezuma's Daughter because I grew up right around where the setting is. Then we have George MacDonald. I have The Carasoling and The Shadows on my list. Home Again, A Hidden Life and Other Poems, Guild Court, Cross Purposes, Malcolm, There and Back, The Flight of the Shadow, and Robert Falconer, and a whole bunch of others that I'm not going to bore you with listing out like 100 George MacDonald that I wish that I had. Then we have John Buchan. There are 3 that are at the top of my John Buchan list: The Powerhouse, Hunting Tower, and Witch Wood. Then we have E.W. Hornung. I want Ira Lee's Bushranger, The Boss of Toowoomba, The Shadow of a Man, Dennis Dent, and The Unbidden Guest. Then we have Anthony Hope, The King's Mirror, Frosso, The Indiscretion of the Duchess, and Sophie of Cravonia. And I've been talking recently about Grace S. Richmond. This is kind of like a newly discovered author. The Second Violin, The Indifference of Juliet, and The Brown Study are at the top of that list. Then we have Alexandre Dumas, The Queen's Necklace, Pauline, and The Corsican Brothers. And 2 that I want from Marie Corelli are A Romance of Two Worlds and The Sorrows of Satan. That is definitely an intriguing title. Not sure what that's about. There are also a couple of books that I still need from Baroness Emuska Orczy. I've read both of these, but I don't have the physical copies, so I'd really like to have them in my Scarlet Pimpernel collection. And that is The Laughing Cavalier and The Way of the Scarlet Pimpernel. And next, a few books from Captain Frederick Marriott: The Phantom Ship, Masterman Ready, The White Wolf of the Hartz Mountains, Frank Mildmay, or The Naval Officer. And there are a couple that I want from Mary Elizabeth Braddon, Aurora Floyd, and The Doctor's Wife. Next we have Howard Pyle, The Wonder Clock, The Book of Pirates, and King Stork. And the last one on my list is Charles Reade. I want to read Hard Cash, Foul Play, and Peg Woofington. A lot of the titles that I'm saying that I want to buy are not the most famous titles from these authors. I've already read their most famous works, and now I want to find other less well-known or less readily available works from those authors. So hopefully you found something new, or maybe a favorite author that you didn't even realize that they had these other books. Maybe you found something to inspire you on this list, or maybe you would like to add to this list and tell us about your auto-buy authors in the comments. So be sure to leave a comment and tell us what is one of your auto-buy authors and what title of theirs do you still need. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.